Do you believe in dinosaurs? You got all choked up. I wonder why.
I thought this was Tony.
Choked up? No,
Yeah.
I never got choked up.
Yeah, you got all choked up and you threw me off.
I have no idea
Right.
what
You
you're
know
talking
dinosaurs don't exist. They never did. It's a big lie.
about. They did, and cladistically, birds are dinosaurs. So
No, they didn't. That's fake science.
I
You know-
I
you know
kind
it's-
of doubt that you even know what science is.
You know what science is? What do you know?
Yes.
What do you know?
You don't know anything.
Well, I don't know anything.
What do
Yeah,
you
it
know?
seems like it. You just make shit up. And
I
if
love
you don't
this
like
guy.
what
Make
you
shit
hate,
up.
you call
Okay.
people off your life
I love this caller.
stream. So
Okay,
that's a coward.
So could you describe what science is?
Amethyst is my name.
Science is the invention of man.
It is
science
an
is.
invention by man, but
Right.
that's not what science is.
Right. Then you have science fiction. That's classified
Okay,
as science.
so you don't know what science is, right?
I just
So
explained.
you came in here and you said it's fake science, but you don't even know what science is. So
Strawberries came from rocks. I want to do a skit on Orthothugs with Tony where I'm teaching him in some character about evolution, and we reduce it to things like that, Rip, where it's just like strawberries came from rocks.
Just said,
for
science is the
you to
invention
tell
of man.
people what is and is not science when you don't have the ability to even define or
Now, Peterson, I don't know if you guys saw it, but it's a worthwhile debate that I had with him, whether or not evolution is a valid scientific theory. And tap myself on the shoulder, I thought I did extremely well in that debate, demonstrating that Peterson, in fact, didn't hold to a strict set of necessary conditions for something to be a scientific theory. He was all over the place. And, you know, he took some really interesting positions because of it. I highly recommend that debate, watching it. If you're interested in people who are, like, rabid defenders of evolution, and they say it's a scientific theory, and they're, you know, they think it's so real, how simple it is to just walk them through the method and show that they can't actually do it.
describe it in any way at all
What do you mean?
is
I just
really
said science.
really bizarre.
Science is the invention of man.
Toasters are an invention of man.
That's
There.
science.
With that information, could you build or draw or invent a toaster yourself? You could not, could you? Because we haven't.
Eek says, if evolution is just random mutations, why are so many beautiful things? Why would they need to be beautiful? Yeah, and or taste good. I was thinking about this, Eek, the other day, how, like, we have a wide variety of really tasty fruits. And you think, like, well, if it's embedded in the fruit, even though it has no intention, you know, there's no will, it makes itself, if it wanted to survive, you know, it wouldn't want to be eaten. So you're like, so all life is geared towards some sort of, like, the winners are the ones who evolved accidentally for some type of self-defense. And because of that, they're able to exist. So the creatures and the animals and the organisms we see today, they're the result of accidentally producing traits that produced their survival, and, you know, everything else died away. And then you're like, dude, berries are so good that almost every animal that could digest them eats them. They're so damn tasty. All of them. You're like, oh, a blueberry, a strawberry. It's like a commercial. It's almost embarrassing how beautiful the color and the smell and the taste and the sweetness. It almost is like, I don't know, consistent with the humans. It's almost pandering to the human experience, I would say. Like, it's so insanely aggressive. So yeah, no, total accident. Yeah, no, raspberries,
I
strawberries.
used your arguments against evolution today and they went from rabid anti-God to a pretty reasonable acknowledgement of the lack of support to call it more than a hypothesis.
Well,
Hand
dude,
over mouth emoji.
that's great. I mean, I don't always get that clicker, or maybe it's my approach. So whatever you did that had them concede or at least accept that they don't have what it takes to say it's a valid hypothesis or a viable hypothesis, that's cool. Maybe they were just more reasonable. Debating as Mike Tyson would be funny. That would get old quick, though. That's the thing with impressions. They get old real quick.
Haven't actually described
My opening statement.
I
I don't
willing
even...
to try a poison berry every now and then.
Yeah, that's true also. Yeah, you look at the poisonous
To
ones.
be fair, Jimbob, I think some fruits like oranges, grapefruits and lemons are all man-made.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many. I know that they're synthesized, so I'd grant that. But even that, like the fact that a fruit can be synthesized at all is kind of wild. The evolution proponent thinks that's a case for evolution, that we can manipulate and engineer things. No, the fact that we can engineer and sort of like sub-engineer and graph things together, it actually makes their view of that it's accidental even more ridiculous. But yeah, I was gonna say, someone would say, well, the poisonous berries, why did it develop or whatever, or what's the evolutionary advantage to a poison berry? And they'd be like, well, it won't be eaten then, it'll live longer. Long live the berry. But then you're like, how many other fruit just isn't like taste amazing?
the thing in any meaningful way. So go ahead and tell us what science is. For the record, you can't, but go ahead and try to tell us what science is.
Fruits have sugar to help the organics in the soil produce nutrients to germinate. Yeah, that means order, Dirk. That's not an argument for evolution. I don't know if you're just adding information for no reason, but Dirk, I have a feeling you're an evolution proponent. I just have this sneaking suspicion. But no, the fact that the system works with unrelated particulars in the world, soil, why? So did fruits evolve to help the organics? Well, that doesn't make sense, because to evolve, they would need to be around. They would already need all of the necessary components to operate in a system that has soil. So it's like, no one can answer this question. They always start from a world that works a certain way. They're like, oh yeah, we have trees and there's air and there's water and we have all the elements, and now we can talk about what evolution is. And you're like, no, dude, we're not granting you all of that. Are you kidding me? I'm not going to give you a free lunch.
I already said it. Science is the invention of...
Dirk understands evolution. You don't understand evolution, dude. The reason I know nobody understands evolution is once you ask granular questions about evolution, evolution is like a big story. It's like, to the people who defend evolution, it makes sense to them from like if you were to get a book at the library, but the book only had chapter titles, and you scroll through and you're like, I just read this book. It makes total sense. When we ask questions about each of the sentences in between the chapters, not the titles, you guys fall apart. You don't even know what to say. All you say is, it happened. That's it.
Man.
Dirk, no, you don't understand, Dirk. You can call in. I mean, I think it's almost time to have a call in. So if you want to give all these fine, lovely people here an account of evolution, I'm sure they can use the giggle today.
That's not what science... So, okay, you must not have been paying attention. Toasters are also an invention of man, but the statement, a toaster is an invention of man, doesn't actually describe what a toaster is. It doesn't allow anybody to explain or to understand what the thing is. You couldn't make one with those instructions. You couldn't draw one for somebody that had never seen one before. Somebody that had never seen one before could not go back to their group of people and be like, hey, toasters are an invention of man. And then,
did Jimbob steal his daughter's hat? That's really funny, Hudson. Oh, yeah? Suzuki. No, I'm convinced that pink is, in fact, a man's color, not a girl's color.
Then everybody would be like,
does it make sense? Pink is a man's color, but it's not a little boy's color.
oh, yeah, let's make one. So again, you haven't actually described anything.
But
so you made the very specific claim that I believe in like fake science, or I peddle fake science. So in order for anybody,
Scooby-Dee, bada-boom, gabagoo, skibida, ba-beep-a-doo-dee, Scooby-Dee-bop, ba-doo-ba-doop, bada-beep, Scooby-Doo, boo-doo-beep-bop-bop.